Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Simple Politics. So, the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, signed the Expropriation Bill and everybody started to spiral. So I was confused at first. I'm like, what is going on? I'm reading a statement from the EFF. They are rejecting the signing of the bill. I'm reading the statement from MK. They are rejecting the signing of the bill. I'm reading a statement from the DA. They are rejecting the signing of the bill. They want to challenge it. So I was sitting here yesterday, I'm spiraling. I'm like, okay, I need to understand what's happening. Why is everybody rejecting this bill and only the ANC is happy about this? Why are the other people rejecting this bill? And the least I expected is for the EFF and the MK to reject, and the ATM to reject, and the DA to reject. Come on, one of those is supposed to accept, right? When one rejects. So I did some deep diving and I'm like, okay, I had a live yesterday and the fighters were trying to explain, and honestly, I feel like I still didn't get it yesterday and I just got it now. I'm so excited. I'm happy for this channel. This channel is called Simple Politics on Purpose. This is the reason for this channel. It's to take something that is complicated, that is out there, where people are using big words, and a normal average South African struggles to understand, Uguti, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? So this is the purpose of this channel. So with today's video, I'm so excited. And please, if I say something that is wrong, correct me in the comment section. As I said, I'm also grabbing bits and pieces here and there, but I did read the statement of the ATM, which is what I'm going to read now. I feel like they've made kind of sense. And another thing that's confusing me now, what that was confusing me the most, was the DA is spiraling so hard. The ministers of the DA, they are posting on X saying that as the minister, Dian McPherson posted and said, as the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, there will be no expropriation of private property without compensation on my watch. The guarantee of property rights under Section 21 of the Constitution is not up for debate and it is non-negotiable. And then I saw another DA member. He also posted and said, I scripted and saved, worked and sacrificed to buy a property, a home for my family. No one is taking it away from me. Okay, so I'm thinking to myself, do you get where my question is coming from? Okay, let's get right into it. So the DA also said when they released a statement yesterday and said, the DA will challenge the expropriation bill signed into law by Ramaphosa, while the DA recognizes that the Constitution allows for the act of redress and restitution. We have reservations about the procedure and the aspects of the bill. Our legal team will formulate a case. Okay, fine. And thank you to the fighters, because now when they're telling me about the Constitution allows for the act, I sort of understand, because the fighters were explaining this to me yesterday. So now I have an idea. Just before I get to the statement of the ATM, someone posted and said, I will tell you what, Cyril Ramaphosa is cruel. He made sure that he strategically placed all the DA ministers in departments that are directly responsible for policy areas and clash with the DA's policy offering. He made Sivu implement the Bella Act, and now he's making Dian McPherson implement the expropriation of land not without compensation. Truly genius. Look at them. Eat humble pie. Okay, this is a real challenge for the DA, by the way, because the ANC is just signing everything. The ANC is signing everything that they said they're going to sign. They're not playing around, and it just shows that the ANC outsmarted the DA so bad when it comes to negotiation, because at the end, I know we say the DA has power, but the ANC is also doing whatever they want to do, Shem. Anyway, let's get right into it. Please subscribe just before we start. Subscribe to this channel, because you are not going to get another channel that simplifies things for you guys. you know, you will never get that channel. This is the plug for you. Subscribe to this channel. It's free of charge. If you are seeing me for the first time, my name is Zizipo Lupelwana. Let's get right into it. So the ATM posted a statement and saying that it rejects. I'm not going to read the whole statement. I'm just reading the important parts because I'm trying to make sense, okay? The ATM says, President Ramaphosa's statement accompanying the signing of the bill reflects the government's unwillingness to take a decisive action. He stated that expropriation may not be exercised unless the expropriating authority has, without success, attempted to reach an agreement with the owner or the holder of the right in property for the acquisition thereof on reasonable terms. This is, by all intents and purposes, an extension of willing buyer, willing seller policy that has failed dismally over the 30 years. The failed approach has only frustrated meaningful and land reform. So what the ATM is saying here, it's saying that this bill, the reason that they are rejecting it the most is because it's an extension of willing seller, willing buyer. Meaning that if someone has got land or owns the land and you want the land for business or whatever, if they don't want to give you the land, you're not going to get the land. If they don't want to sell the land to you or you don't reach an agreement, then you are not going to get. Do you understand? So meaning that also, I was saying yesterday, it also goes back to if, well, you don't have money to buy, there are zero chances of you getting that land because there are zero chances that you will get it without compensating the owner. So it's the same thing that has been happening. If you want to buy a land, you have to apply and then you have to you have to agree with the owner. You have to agree with the owner and pay them. So you are compensating them. They are not getting it for free. You are not getting the land for free. Do you get it? So if you don't have money, you are not getting that land. You see? That's why they are rejecting this thing. So the ATM further explains and says this. The distinction between nil compensation and without a compensation, exactly where Ramaphosa signs the bill with nil compensation. What the EFF, the ATM have been fighting for is land expropriation without compensation, meaning that if you apply for this land, get this land, go farm, you don't have to pay anything. Yeah, but so what is the difference between, because this is big English that really it's very difficult to understand. I was spiraling. Doesn't nil compensation mean without compensation? But clever Ramaphosa, very clever, very clever and sneaky. Let's find out. And thank you to ATM for this clear statement. It says that nil compensation and without compensation is not a matter of semantics. It is a matter of principle and justice. Nil compensation creates legal loopholes that allows for the subject application and the possible of compensating those who inherited stolen land without compensation. Oh, it says that compensating those who inherited stolen land. Yeah. So it goes back to what I'm saying, Ukuti, the subject application and possible. So meaning that you would still have to compensate the person who stole the land. You would still have to compensate a Rupert if you get their land. Yeah, then it says, on the other hand, is rooted in the recognition that the dispossession of Black South Africans was unjust and that those who benefited from the injustice must not be rewarded. Meaning that if people got land during apartheid, they got the land. Now when you are saying, no, I want the land back, you must pay them. And they're going to charge you 2 million. You must pay 2 million to get the land back. But when they got it for free, this is where the injustice is. This is where the fight is. This is why now the left parties or the black parties are also rejecting this bill, because you must still pay. And where are people going to get 2 million? Yeah, so, from this injustice and not be rewarded. It says that the government's decision to adopt nil compensation is disingenuous and undermines the sacrifice of those who fought for liberation. Then it goes and says the refusal to amend Section 25 of the Constitution. Section 25 of the Constitution, thank you to the fighters who explained this to me yesterday. Ngulo uba protectayo that you can't just compensate you can't just take the land without compensation. You can't just expropriate land without compensation. Yeah, so that is why the EFF, the ATM, they are gunning for Section 25 of the Constitution to be amended. Yeah, but that's the real transformation, amending that Section 25. Because it doesn't matter if Ramaphosa still signs the bill, but if Section 25 is still there, it still protects. Yeah, understand? I go, eish, I'm getting there. I love this. So it says that the refusal to amend Section 25 of the Constitution to explicitly allow for expropriation without compensation is a clear indication that the government lacks the political will to deliver meaningful reform. Why play games? Why leave room to compensate those who benefited from the land disposition? This is not what our people fought for, and it is certainly not justice that South Africa deserves. The African Transformation Movement rejects this and intend to pacify the masses with hollow promises. True land reform requires bold action. Exactly. I'm not a vague and toothless legislative. We call on all South Africans to join in demanding the amendment of Section 25, which is Section 25, if it is amended, that's the section that's going to allow land to be expropriated without compensation, meaning that you take the land, you don't pay a dime. That's where the money is at. Okay. That's the ATM. I also do want to read the EFF statement. I'm not going to read the full statement. There's a few parts that I got from the statement. As I said, this morning I've been very, very busy trying to understand this big English. Because Shem, the English is big. And Shem, if you are uneducated, Shem, you struggle. Nama was struggling, Shem. I'm not going to lie. I was struggling. So now I read this part of the EFF because I wanted to understand why is the EFF also rejecting the bill. The EFF says, let me start here. It says that those who conceptualized the Expropriation Act are of the view that the factors listed in Section 25 of the Constitution can be creatively interpreted to mean that in some instances, compensation for expropriation could be nil, meaning that this bill has been signed, Lega Ramaphosa no nil, that it could be nil. There's a chance that you can get the land with nil, but what are the chances? Are the chances 0.0001 for you to get the land without with nil without paying? Let's see what the EFF says. This is a very wild hypothesis rooted in some utopian understanding of the Constitution. In at least one instances where the judicial adventurism was attempted by the Land Claims Court in a matter of ACE and another versus Msiza and others, in terms of which the Land Claim Court reduced an amount that was payable to the owner from 1.8 million to 1.5 million. So the owner charged the 1.8 million for the land. They took them to court, and then the court reduced it from 1.8 million to 1.5 million. Imagine, if you don't have money, even if they can reduce 1.8 million to 1.5 million, it doesn't make a difference to you because you don't have money. 1.5 million is a lot of money. You don't even qualify for 1.5 million. Let's start there. The Supreme Court of Appeals upheld an appeal against the judgment. The SCA relied heavily on the provisions of Section 25 of the Constitution and found that there was no justifiable reason for the decision taken by the Land Claims Court. The constitutional framework remains the same. Expropriation in South Africa is a compensation-centric, and this is rooted in the Constitution. The new Expropriation Act seeks to legislate the legal absurdity that was rejected by the Supreme Court appeals. It it provides that there are instances in which compensation for the expropriated property could be calculated to nil, which in their view equals to expropriation without compensation. As I said, it could be calculated to nil, but what are the chances of you getting the land with nil compensation? That's like 0.0000. The Act then provides a closed list of instances in which compensation for expropriation could be calculated to mean nil compensation. These instances include cases where the land is held for speculation purposes, abandoned land, land that possesses health hazard. Yeah, well, you could be given a land at zero price, now, and thinking it's land without compensation. And it's a land that possesses health hazards. So that is not a good land. Yeah, so thank you to the EFF for clarifying this as well. So it says that it could be an abandoned land that you get free. It could be a land that possesses health hazard and so forth. Even if it were true that these categories of land could be expropriated at nil compensation, this could not change the structure and the nature of land holding in South Africa, because it would basically mean that only land that is of little value could be expropriated without compensation. So it says those who own the categories of land listed in Act as subject to nil compensation still enjoy the constitutional protections as outlined in Section 25 of the Constitution, and they would be able to challenge this sort of expropriation in court and win. So I think this is what the EFF is really fighting for, Uguti. Even if you can expropriate land and say you are expropriating it without compensation, if they go to court and challenge you with Section 25 of the Constitution, they will still win in court. So technically, you don't have protection until the ANC and the president amend Section 25 of the Constitution so that if you expropriate land without compensation, they don't have room to challenge you and win. Even in the court of law, the Constitution must be on your side. This is what they are fighting for, which I really understand now. And I think the DA is just fighting because they are just trying to protect their bags in terms of maybe they are just scared to go to what's going to happen if maybe President Ramaphosa is influenced and maybe ends up amending Section 25. Maybe that's why they are fighting. Yeah, but for now, Section 25 is still protecting them, even if President Ramaphosa is saying the land must be expropriated at nil. Yeah, so it says that those who own, or it says that the Expropriation Act is therefore a legislative cop-out by the African National Congress and only uses to fool our people into believing that the party is doing something to addressing the utmost tyrannical neglect of the land question in this country. It will not assist in resolving the tragedy of the land restitution in the country, which has hollowed our state coffers for compensation for white settlers who illegitimately own our land. The only democratic mechanism through which the land question can be resolved is in amending the entirety of Section 25 of the Constitution. This must include the provision for state custodianship of the land. A mere act of parliament cannot override the Constitution. Now, this is something I also learned yesterday, that a mere act in parliament cannot amend the Constitution. Yeah, but we therefore reject this act and we will soon table a new set of legislative proposals in parliament to resolve the land crisis in this country. So that is the economic freedom fighters. So yeah, guys, I've tried my best to really dive deep. If you feel like there's something that I've said wrong or that you don't understand, let's meet in the comment section. I'm sure people will be there to answer you. So yeah, that's I 100% understand why the black parties are rejecting this bill. I completely understand. The ANC is just playing games here and there, hide and seek. They're just playing games. So there's definitely a reason why the ATM, abo EFF, they feel like they're being gaslit. They they are just in jail. He's playing games. He's playing a smart game. And the DA on the other side, they are just now acting up because Section 25 still protects them. Maybe they are just scared to go to what if it ends up being amended? Then what? Then they've got no protection. Then they must fight this now. But this is a thin, this is another disagreement between the DA and the ANC. And the DA is going to challenge this in court. Well, they said they are still consulting their legal teams. So this is another crack. This is another lose for the DA. This is another lose for the DA. The ANC is just taking wins left, right, and center. I was listening to an interview of Samkele Masek, and he was saying, Ukuti, the ANC planned this. It is said that the ANC planned this, and they knew that they just needed to sign what was left is just signing these bills. They planned this. So, Aisha, the ANC might have outsmarted the DA. Simple. Anyway, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Aluta continua. Let's meet in the comment section and let me know what you think. I mean, this is a learning curve for everybody. Let's learn. I love this for us. I'll see you in the next episode. Please subscribe. It's free of charge.